The Motor Dream podcast is recorded on Camaragal land of the Eora Nation. It always was and always will be the lands of the First Nations of Australia.
This is the Motor Dream podcast.
Hello and welcome to episode 35 of the Motor Dream podcast. I'm Connor McNally and thank you for joining me once again on the show where we can dream just a little about what our dream garage would be if money was no issue whatsoever. When I started this series almost 2 years ago, my original premise was to chat with drivers and riders from within the motorsport game, as well as those who work in the motoring industry who all shared a deep passion for cars, bikes and motoring. Along the way, I've been fortunate to include some prominent personalities outside the motorsport landscape to talk about their dream garage and their passion for all things motoring. And in this episode, we get to chat with one half of a hugely successful Formula One podcast who also dabbles as a comedian and can only be best described as a comedy cockroach who survives by drawing nutrients from the laughter of his audience. They're not my words. That's coming from the Melbourne-based Improv Conspiracy website. More on my guest in just a moment. But first, here's the premise of what this is all about, especially for our new listeners to this podcast. I tell my guests that one day they wake up to discover that they receive a text telling them that they need to check their bank balance. They then open up the bank app and they suddenly discover that they're instant billionaires. As soon as they discover their newfound fortune, they get an email from this mystery benefactor that tells them that they can spend anything that they like and they can buy any car, bike or machine that they want. There is a catch though. They are only allowed 3 cars, bikes or machines in their dream garage. Sounds easy, doesn't it? But trust me, as my previous guests have discovered, it is very difficult to decide what they would like in their dream garage. As always, be sure to like and subscribe to the show on your favourite podcast platform and be sure to leave a review and tell us what you think of the Motor Dream podcast. And be sure to follow us on our socials, which we'll tell you more about at the end of the show. Since the advent of Drive to Survive in 2019, the rise in popularity of Formula One in recent years have reached levels that make other sports envious of its recent success. With a fan base of over 750 million fans worldwide and growing, the sport continues to remain relevant largely thanks to its engagement on social media and the ease of accessibility to its audience through platforms such as podcasting. In a market that has become fully saturated with shows dedicated to Formula One itself, podcasting has become a popular place for experts, fans and even influencers to engage with their audience and discuss everything about the sport. From driver movements and strategies to the technical analysis, there's a plethora of shows that cater to everyone's taste. And I can speak from experience, having been a former host of a podcast with Trevor Long. But that's another story. But until recently, there hasn't been a Formula One podcast series that has taken a comedic look into the sport. Until 2 F1 mad fans from Melbourne, who also happen to be comedians, combined their 2 interests to create the hugely successful Reserve Drivers podcast. Since bursting onto the scene in 2019, initially as a YouTube channel, Tim McDonald and Luke Rocca have terrorised teams, drivers, and even the Sky Sports F1 commentary team with their hilarious take on each Grand Prix. They have even received some consternation from Sky Sports itself when they said bugger live on British television. And yet, despite all this, they've attracted a huge following of fans who love their approach on taking the piss out of what is a very serious sport. Now, we tried to get Tim McDonald onto the show, but he was still serving time for saying bugger on Sky Sports F1. So instead, we invited his best mate Luke Rocca onto the show. You know, the comedy cockroach I mentioned just before. Outside of his involvement as one half of the Reserve Drivers, Rocca is a scriptwriter and researcher for the highly successful Network 10 program The Cheap Seats, which is produced by the masterminds at Working Dog Productions. Rocca has also made a successful transition into stand-up comedy, hosting his maiden headline show Doormat during the Melbourne International Comedy Festival. Rocca didn't grow up as a motoring enthusiast in his younger years, but due to his friendship and working association with McDonald doing the Reserve Drivers, he's quickly embracing the love of cars and motoring. When we recorded this interview back in May, it was off the back of the Miami Grand Prix and the recent dumping of Jack Doohan from Alpine. So there was a lot to talk about in our chat, including his new role as the so-called pasta ambassador of Barilla Pasta. By the way, Barilla Pasta is the official pasta of Formula One, and no, I wasn't paid by Barilla, nor am I sponsored by them to mention that Luke is a pasta ambassador. So called. Also, his dream garage is one that I'm sure will surprise a lot of people, as it did for myself. So it gives me great pleasure to welcome one half of the Reserve Drivers podcast, Luke Rocca, to the Motor Dream podcast.
Guys, what the...
Boundary exchange.
There's something loose between my legs. In like forever? I don't know.
We'll come back to you.
Come on! What the this guy doing?
Tripping major nutsacks.
A short view back to the past.
No biking, no. What the was that?
No more radio for the rest of the race.
Well, it's the podcast that gets a lot of laughs out of Formula One fans across the world and probably scares the bejesus out of some of the drivers. It's the Reserve Drivers podcast, of course, and it's a great pleasure to welcome the pasta ambassador for Barilla Pasta, the official pasta of Formula One, Luke Rocca. Welcome to the Motor Dream podcast. It's great to have you on, mate.
Thank you very much, Con. I've never had that as an intro, as the pasta ambassador. I'm happy to take the mantle. Thank you for having me. Looking at your past guests, you've got current drivers, ex-drivers, supreme journalists. So I'm wondering who pulled out for me to be here. But I am happy to join you. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's an absolute pleasure. I mean, I think the only person that pulled out is your colleague in Tim McDonald, but we received letters from his lawyer saying, Tim is not available, stop harassing us, otherwise we will be taking you to court, so stop stalking him. You're the next best thing.
Well, thank you. I'll take that. But look, there is a little bit between Tim and I. We are contractually not able to be in the same room at the same time, so that was going to pose an issue for today's recording.
Well, yeah, exactly. But I mean, hang on, you were in the same room together when you were on the F1 show podcast as part of Sky Sports F1, so I don't know what's going on
That
there.
is true, and they have not yet asked us back, so it might have a correlation.
Would it have something to do with the fact that he said bugger on British television a couple of years ago?
I mean, come on. A PC gone mad as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, no, he learned. He got a bit of slap on the wrist there, Timmy. Put us into disrepute. We had to really, regather after that, regroup.
Yeah, regroup like Alpine at the moment. Actually, I want to talk a little bit about that. Yeah, because at the time of recording, we've just heard Jack Doohan has reportedly been sacked, and now Ollie Oakes, the current team principal for Alpine, has decided to resign and leave the team. So, I mean, Alpine at the moment are just as they're deflating like a bad souffle gone wrong right now. What on earth is happening?
It's crazy. It's insane. Firstly, congratulations, Argentina. A national day of celebration in Argentina with Franco Colapinto posed to take Jack Doohan's seat. And all those big fans of Flavio Briatore. He, of course, was the ex-Renault back in the noughties team boss, famous for Crashgate, the alleged tipping off Piquet to crash to get Alonso across the line. Alleged. All alleged, of course.
Let's just say alleged, yes.
Yes. But also, alleged. And he came in at the end of last year to just kind of sharpen up Alpine, right? Because they had the young team boss, Ollie Oakes. But he came in and everyone was like, well, what's his role? What's he doing? Well, now he's found himself as team boss again. So, that's hardly a surprise for some.
It is hardly surprising. I mean, if you go further back, Flavio was the head honcho of what was then Benetton. So he's been involved with that team for a very, very long time. He was around when Michael Schumacher was driving for that team. That's going back 30 years. So.
Well, nothing says progress like bringing back from the dead from 30 years ago, the old team boss. In terms of, for a Formula One comedy podcast, I'm a big Flavio fan, so the more Flavio, the better.
Well, you are of Italian heritage. You are Italian heritage, so it's hardly surprising. I mean, heck, I'm wearing a Ferrari shirt today. I'm trying to keep you happy here.
Thank you very much. I noticed that. It's a very good one too. It looks like the official one, unlike the budget ones. I've kind of got my hands on the black market kind of budget ones. That looks like a goodie. They're in a bit of a rough patch too, old Ferrari, but plateauing a little bit with Lewis at the helm.
What do you make of the team radio from Miami? I mean, they are just absolutely salty conversations between his team radio, like his team management and all that. It's just, Oh, what a time to be alive.
Lewis, of course, asking his team race engineers if they'd like to have a cup of tea as they pose and come up with their decisions. Although what I would add, though, is that everybody's banging on about, Lewis is missing Bono. But let's not forget that at Mercedes, Lewis, he was happy to throw out a few spicy team radio messages then as well.
Absolutely.
So,
I remember that.
He's got form. He's trying to drive the team up. He's trying to, bring some of that championship mentality to a team that, again, has just been stagnant for too long, much like an overcooked Barilla pasta. It's starchy, it's stagnant, it's just not...
It's not al dente at the moment.
No, and Ferrari is not al dente. If that's one thing we can say about Ferrari right now. They are not al dente. It's not happening.
No, I got to wonder, will they bounce back next year when the new regulations come in? At the moment, I don't know if they will be because they're just struggling.
You can back them in, though, on a win in Monza. I'll put my house on it. Every year... I'm
going to hold you to that.
Well, let's not get into the specifics too much. But yeah, every year, if this happens every year, they show mixed form. Monza comes about, bang, incredible pace, iconic 100,000 people on the racetrack for the podium, and all is well at Ferrari. So we'll see what happens. Yeah,
exactly. But at the moment, it's all about McLaren and Oscar. I mean, he has done so well. 3 straight wins in a row. First time since 1998. And from an Australian perspective, first time since Alan Jones, who last won 3 races in a row. I mean, is there any way that anyone can stop Oscar Piastri at the moment?
It's looking pretty good. Finished 30 seconds ahead of the McLarens were 30 seconds ahead of, was it third? I mean, it's looking pretty good. I mean, you can't count out Lando. Everybody's a bit iffy about Lando, wondering where his head's at, but he is quick. So I imagine it'll be a fight right up until the end. I did see this stat, though, but I'll have to let you know, just full disclosure, Connor, I'm very, very hesitant to talk about Oscar because I don't want to put in a moz. I don't want to put in a curse. I don't want to do anything like that. I want him to get over the line because I've done that. I've been very big on Daniel Ricciardo in the past. I'm a massive Daniel Ricciardo fan, and look where that got me. So I'm holding fire. He's a very good race driver.
Fair enough.
And that's all I'm willing to say at the moment.
All right, I'll take that. Take that.
Although I did see, though, that there was just a stat I saw online of a driver who's won the 4 out of the past, who's won 4 of the first 6 races of the Grand Prix, has gone on to win the championship for the past 30 years. So
don't jinx it. Don't jinx it, whatever you do.
I mean, I've just said I don't want to moz, and then I've just thrown that in the mix. So
you did.
Shame on me. But no, let's hope.
Exactly, and we've got the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix coming up. So, look, I think it's going to be a very interesting race around Imola, of course. And I went to Imola a couple of years ago, not for the Grand Prix, but I went to Imola on its own. Wow, it's just so significant for so many reasons. I went to the Senna Memorial there, and it's just just captivating on how special that place is. Obviously, not for good reasons, but just the historical significance of what. Senna and people go to that shrine, almost daily, year in, year out. It's just a special place to be at. And I absolutely love Imola. It's a beautiful track.
Oh, I mean, do you have a bucket list race, or have you been to a bucket list race?
A bucket list race at the moment would be obviously Melbourne. Want to go to the Grand Prix in Melbourne, but bucket list would have to be the British Grand Prix.
Oh yeah, Silverstone.
Outside of the Australian Grand Prix, I want to go to Silverstone and the British Grand Prix. I know everyone says Monaco and everything, and I know people who have gone to Monaco, but there's something about the British Grand Prix that I absolutely love. It's just the scene where we've seen some fantastic moments. I mean, I remember when Nigel Mansell picked up Ayrton Senna in 1991, and then a year later he won the British Grand Prix, and thousands of fans ambushed the track and put a stop or Nigel on his tracks. Damon and Michael Schumacher crashing in 95. There's so many. That place has got so many. Actually, I remember Lewis in 2020 when he had that blown tyre, and I think it was for the 70th anniversary Grand Prix, and that was just mind-blowing. He got to the finish on 3 wheels. I mean, who does that these days? It's just crazy.
It's crazy. It does make for great racing. There's always good races there. You're 100% right. I can't remember what year it was, 2018 maybe, the 2 Mercedes and 2 Ferraris in the top 4, the last 10 races, swapping positions all the way through. I can't remember who took it, actually. But yeah, you're right. Silverstone's right up there. I would love... I'd love to get to Monza. I mean, obligatory.
Of course.
I have
of course.
Italian heritage, so I'm contractually obliged to get myself there.
Yes.
Monza would be amazing, but I love the races in Austria, Hungary, just like in the mountains, like Spa-Francorchamps, just in the mountains there, the Hungaroring, like that would be. I love like. You can see when you watch those races, they do the zoom shots and it zooms up, and there's just locals who just perch themselves on top of the mountains with a deck chair and the Hungarian version of a esky, and they're loving life. So that would be right up there.
Yeah, well, I can tell you who won the Grand Prix in 2018. It was Sebastian Vettel, ahead of Lewis Hamilton, and then Kimi Räikkönen.
Yeah. Now, see, this is foreign for me. Actual stats and facts in a Formula One podcast. This is not usually my bag.
Well, this is something that I was doing when I was a part of the EFTM F1 podcast all those years ago when Trevor was running the podcast. And actually, for a period of time when you were doing, you still do the reserve drivers, but there was a period of time when both Trevor's podcast and your podcast were co-sponsored by KO. So
right.
we were kind of like stablemates indirectly for a period of time.
Okay, there you go. Well, just yet again, another sponsor of the Reserve Drivers podcast that we are no longer in communication with. Not sure what happened there. And look, let me get on the record that for all your listeners out there, I wouldn't say you'd listen to the Reserve Drivers for groundbreaking insights, factual information, the news pieces. We're a little bit we're a bit light on those, but we like to have a good time.
I've noticed that, but you like to take a light-hearted look. Maybe taking the piss is probably the right word for it.
Yeah, again, they're your words. If any sponsors are listening, they're your words. And look, I do have a media ban placed on me from the FIA.
Really?
No. I mean, they didn't. I wasn't allowed into the Formula One paddock this year. I'll put it that way.
Okay.
But no, that's just because they don't know who I am more than anything I've said, I would imagine.
They allowed Tim in. That speaks
They do allow Tim in. He's got better lawyers than me. I got to sort that out.
But I love the Reserve Drivers podcast. It's been around for quite a while, and it's gained a cult following by virtue of how, the funny nature of Formula One. As I said, you don't take it too seriously. It's supposed to not be taken too seriously. And as I said, it's just been very, very popular, not just with drivers and teams alike, but so many fans around the world. What makes the Reserve Drivers so popular?
Well, thank you. I mean, it is a bit weird. It is a bit wacky. Tim and I, two Melbourne-based comedians who, at the time when we started thinking about this, it was like late 2017, early 2018. And at that time, in your friendship group, you'd be lucky to have, and you could probably speak to it, you'd be lucky to have another friend who was really into Formula One. At that time, it wasn't the kind of the mainstream kind of second or third sport. It was a bit more fringe. So, we both had an interest in it, both noticed that there was just a lot of rich, serious people making big mistakes and having big reactions to them. And if that's not a recipe for comedy, I don't know what is. So, we just... two passionate fans who just, saw the funny side. And it's been a lot of fun putting it together. We just make each other laugh, and our listeners send us in all kinds of stuff that happen throughout the Grand Prix weekends. And we definitely just go weird as much as we can.
I still like to watch. I think it was from 2022, like after the Austrian Grand Prix, you were previewing the French Grand Prix, and you started the podcast with, it was a vodcast as it was on YouTube at the time. You started with all the Dutch orange haze, and it was covering you, and you accidentally placed your hand on Tim's. He said, "Don't put that there. That's exceeding track limits." So I just love those sort of things, and I still play it, and I just get a laugh out of it because it's just so funny. So I just like the fact you just pick the key moments that make it so funny. It's just those little moments, but they're just those moments that are so funny.
Well, thank you. That's very kind of you. And like I said, there are many, 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 many amazing Formula One podcasts that give you the latest insights, the groundbreaking news that make you feel smarter. I'm not sure if we quite live up to that, but we have a good time doing it regardless.
How did you get into Formula One personally? You obviously met through Tim and through watching like Formula One and then going probably because I know there's a lot of Melbourne fans that used to go to I think there was a pub in Melbourne that used to show Formula One and qualifying in the early to mid 2000s before Sky came along, and it used to run a what was it, they used to do take a pirate feed of the broadcasting and that. So I don't know if you were one of those people growing up in Melbourne that went to this pub with their mum and dad or whatever and watched the racing late at night. Were you one of those people, or you were waiting on Channel 10 back in the day?
Yeah, I wasn't one of those people going to the underground pirate feed pub, but I tell you what, side hustle unlocked. A light bulb's popped up in my eyes, in my head. That's
not
an
that
idea.
we recommend it. Not that we recommend it.
No, of course not. Definitely not. Yeah, and just on the reserve drivers, just before, you are right, we were on YouTube, but we kept getting taken down and striked, and even though everything we were doing was above board, so we have moved to back to audio, but you're right there. But just getting into Formula One, I suppose, I didn't really watch much of it as a kid outside of the big Grand Prix day in early March or late Feb, early March when it was in Melbourne. And in terms of a motorsport kind of fan, Bathurst, they were the two that my family weren't huge motorsport. I wouldn't say they were motorsport fans at all, but the Grand Prix and Bathurst were always on TV. And I suppose as a kid, that made me go, okay, this is pretty important. This is pretty cool. So I'd always just have an interest and watch it with family and see what was going on. But it was only until kind of my late teens, I lived overseas. I lived in Canada and I was homesick and I was looking for kind of sports, and I got myself like a global, Foxtel pass or something like that to watch the footy and cricket. And just on the time zone, there was a lot of Formula One available. And so I started watching that, and that was when Daniel Ricciardo was beginning his career at Red Bull.
Yep.
And so I fell in love with him instantly. He's obviously a lovable character. But it was really, I was thinking about this, and it was the Monaco race of 2016. And if you remember that's when Ricciardo was just on a tear. The whole free practice 1, 2, and 3, qualifying, street circuit, just absolutely on a tear. And then, of course, the race comes along. He makes a routine pit, and there's no Red Bull mechanics in pit lane.
I do remember that. He was absolutely gutted. Gutted.
And it was the time, that's when I kind of clicked into, hang on, what is this sport? How can this driver just dominate and then at the end of the day not get the win and it not be his fault? And then there was the Red Bull were in the spotlight. Ricciardo was angry. Hamilton took the win. It was at Monaco, so there was crown prince and princesses popping champagne. There were yachts and supercar yachts. They were showing footage of Kimi Räikkönen in the past, crashing out and going to have champagne on his yacht. And it was that race that I thought, what on earth is this sport? And from there, I became really, really hooked.
So you really got into it before Drive to Survive became quite popular.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, probably that 2016 season was where I really came into it. And I think Ricciardo, got something like 3 wins that season. I think so. Or was it 3 or 4 that year? Was it 2014, wasn't it? He got his first year, he got the 3 wins. He beats Vettel. So we thought, we've got a world champion on our hands.
Yeah, I do remember. Having a look at the record. So just looking, here we go. The wins that Daniel got.
I know his first one was Canada.
Canada was his first win for Red Bull. His first Grand Prix win too. Then he wins the Hungarian and Belgian Grand Prix back to back. So
that's 3 in a season for it would have been like under 20 race season back then.
19 it was,
19, there you go. So, he was, I guess, I mean, you'll have to cut me off because if I start ranting about Daniel Ricciardo, we're not going to get off this. We're going to really sidetrack.
No, look, you
I get fired up.
Yeah, come on. I want to hear it. What gets you fired up about that?
No, he's an amazing racer. That it just didn't work. It just didn't work out. But I don't buy into this. He never had it. He was never meant for it. I think he did. And it just didn't work out. One of those careers where it just wrong team, kind of wrong time.
Yeah, I agree.
It was definitely around that 2014, 15, 16, those seasons, and then that Monaco race of 2016 where he had it in the back. It was just you know, he was on a tear, but it didn't work out. He got stitched up in the pits, and that's where I just fell in love with the sport.
I fell in love when I was about 5. So
No,
I'm
there you
showing
go.
my age here. So when it was the first year of the Australian Grand Prix in Adelaide. So yes, the Australian Grand Prix has been
wow.
around for a long time, but first one is a Formula One Australian Grand Prix. And first year on the Adelaide Street Circuit. I remember watching when it was on Channel 9 back in the day. So
boy.
it was just like, wow, you know, so cool. And I've been hooked onto it ever since. Like you, watched Bathurst, you know, love Bathurst, been, you know, loved touring car racing and all that back, you know, as I still do now. But Formula One's just been something that I've always been in love with for a very, very long time. And I grew up watching people like Nigel Mansell, Ayrton Senna, Prost, of course, and now obviously in the current generation, people like Lewis Hamilton and Sebastian Vettel, Kimi, of course. I mean, Kimi just always brings something to the sport. Even if he's not involved anymore, he still brings something that is just, you know, he doesn't give a shit kind of attitude. And it's just so cool. And even the memes now, just, you know, it just flows on even now. Like, even though he's not in the sport, he just keeps providing something for the fans.
And I can see his son, Robin, is doing a lot of karting. And I just looking on Kimi Räikkönen's Instagram, and just this kid, Robin, he wouldn't be even 10 yet, but he's absolutely flying around those racetracks. The racing, it looks so smooth. Wouldn't be surprised if he had another, who knows, 10 or so years if he's not in Formula One.
What about Valtteri at the moment? I mean, Valtteri's just like, he's just carving up the socials at the moment. Like obviously with his partner Tiffany Cromwell, they're like doing all the OFG and stuff. Did you actually see the one that he put out this morning about apples?
No.
Oh, it is so funny. It is so funny.
He's amazing, isn't he? He's really adopting Australia. People are saying that his mullet is quite shocking, but those people, of course, haven't seen his nude pictures back in the day when he was on the nude calendar. So take the mullet, everyone. Take the mullet.
Yes, take the mullet indeed. take the Uber Eats commercials, actually. Take those.
Yes.
And,
there is something I will say. I love hearing about Formula One fans, who just have this like well of history about the sport. I think it's just such a great thing about Formula One fans is once you become a fan, it is this like lamppost where you're in. And so you recall the races, you recall the drivers, you know the little stories, the historical moments about the races that on either side of it. And that's why I never cared too much about... I mean, I love when people say, people talk to me, they don't have a Formula One podcast, and they go, but, I only became a fan because of Drive to Survive. And I'm like, that's like great. That's, you're in now. You're in.
Yes.
You're one of us. One of us.
One of us, exactly. Actually, are you happy that Drive to Survive has helped introduce Formula One to a new legion of fans, and probably indirectly with you, with your podcast? Has that helped introduce a whole new legion of fans by virtue of Drive to Survive, your podcast, and other podcasts that are around?
I think so. I think it's amazing. It's it's done exactly what it's meant to do. It's made the sport big time, bigger. We say big time. It was already huge, but I guess speaking from as Aussies, it's Formula One's really popular. It's really palatable, and it's like people are really interested in it. And like no other sport has been able to replicate that with their kind of doco kind of series. Like I know they tried them with the golf, with the tennis,
the Tour de France,
Tour de France, which, by the way, we could do another podcast on that. I've become such a big fan of endurance cycling.
Really?
Just in the recent year or two. That was another one. Okay, you're getting insight as well into how our podcast works with Tim and I. There's a few things going on, but Tour de France was kind of like that with Formula One for me, where I'd always just know it was on and it'd be in the background, and I'd hear about it. And then there's Cadal, and obviously all the scandal with the sport and stuff like that. So it was always there. But then once I actually deep dive and started watching it, incredible. Anyways, we're not here to talk about.
Well, I have to declare I do have some interest in it because I work on the coverage for SBS. So
that's amazing.
As one of the producers for our broadcast. So it's one of those things that just being off topic for a moment. It's just one of those things that you actually do get actually involved into it. Once you watch a little bit of endurance cycling, like road cycling on a Grand Tour, it is so different, and you don't worry too much about the countryside. I mean, they're all beautiful, but it's just it's like Formula One. It's very strategic. They've all got their roles in the teams. It's very, very unique, and it's a very similar kind of action, like racing compared to Formula One. It's not
Yeah.
it's not like where you do every lap, but you're going from like point A to point B in 250 kilometers, and it's just so brutal. It's a very, very tough sport, and I absolutely love it. It's really cool.
I couldn't agree with you more. And also, just on that, before we move on, sorry, it has multiple, again, with Formula One, there's a lot of things on the line for different people. There's the team championships, there's cyclist, in rider battles.
Kings of the Mountain, intermediate sprints. Yeah,
I love that, yeah.
It's really cool. I like it. I want to ask you, were you interested in cars before you got into Formula One? Or is that something that you've kind of grown into by virtue of your interest in Formula One?
I've definitely grown into it. And I do have to say, and this will be a little bit jarring on the podcast like this, is that I couldn't say that I fall into a category of like car nuffy, car guy, car expert. I will put that firmly on the agenda.
That's okay.
But what I will say is that, there's always been that kind of allure and like awe of cars. Like I find them really, there's a mystery to cars to me, and I find it really interesting. And I was thinking about where did I first notice cars. And I have an uncle who's really into his cars, or he calls it like his money pit, but he and over the years he's had different cars, from Commodores to Porsches. He's currently got a 1960 Corvette that he's really into his cars.
Nice.
And I suppose that for me was where I kind of saw, I guess, like the beauty of cars and where they go, obviously beyond just the point A and B's.
See, that's what I find intriguing, because it's interesting to listen to you saying that you weren't into cars growing up, and you pretty much saw it as a means of transport getting from A to B, which is fair enough. But I also find it fascinating at the same time to see you mature into someone that has really embraced Formula One through doing a comedy-related podcast talking about Formula One, and you're bringing an entertaining side to the sport rather than a very serious side, which a lot of people expect from a Formula One podcast. It's quite captivating.
When you listen to the Reserve Drivers podcast, you are listening to a heavily edited product. Don't you worry about that.
Oh no, I know. I've seen the.
And we did a live show at the start of the year, just before the Aussie Grand Prix.
Yeah.
We're at the Corner Hotel, and Tim and I, it was so weird at the start because we're used to just recording either through the Zoom calls or just in like back cupboard, garage, shed kind of situation. Yeah. And then to be next to each other in front of a crowd with no safety of the edit was quite daunting.
That's I could imagine it would be quite daunting.
Yeah.
Like, did you have to okay, this is serious now, but this is not like heavily edited. This is like the real thing live. And actually, you just recently done a live comedy show as part of the Melbourne Comedy Festival. Did that prepare you for that kind of thing? Yeah,
I'm lucky. I've been. I love live performance and live comedy, and I'm an improviser at an improv company in Melbourne, and performing live is one of my first loves. So it's always good fun. I think Tim's always a little bit nervous when I'm on stage next to him. But no, we keep it all together, and it's good fun.
When you've grown up in Melbourne, and you obviously you got a family relative that loves his cars and everything. Did you admire cars growing up around Melbourne? Because obviously Melbourne's got a very, very strong car culture around there, and obviously people love their cars and their coffee and everything. Yeah. Was that something that you've kind of grown into? Like, do you go to these kind of events, or do you just sort of tag along with friends when you get the opportunity to do so?
I think becoming a Formula One fan has really encouraged me there and helped me there, and got me into the car loving zone. I know, like in Melbourne, there's Lygon Street, which is a famous Italian precinct.
I know Lygon Street. Yeah,
beautiful. Some great restaurants there. My family may or may not have a few ventures in there, but under the table.
Let's leave that one alone.
Brown paper bag kind of situation. But no, in fact, in one of the cafes there is a big kind of Ferrari Formula One car model,
nice,
kind of hoisted up on the roof.
Yes.
And there's like an Italian festival every year that I've been to a couple of times with family that show off cars, and you have Beach Road in the south of Melbourne, where it's incumbent on beautiful car owners to drive along there. So, definitely. I mean, it's definitely something that I definitely notice more since becoming a Formula One fan. I wouldn't say that I was outside of playing with Hot Wheels and like Tonka trucks as a kid, I wouldn't say that I was, car obsessed. But definitely in recent years, yeah. And also, what I would imagine, being a comedian / podcaster, doesn't allow me a lot of scope to dream of owning any of these cars anytime soon.
So you've had no no car makes come to you and say, "Hey, come and drive our car a little bit."
Yeah. Hey, you do a niche Formula One comedy podcast. Hey, come on, take this Corvette for a spin. No, it hasn't happened.
It hasn't happened yet. Well, it hasn't happened for me either. So I'm sure, hopefully, one day someone
there
will
is
come
time.
to me.
There is
plenty of time. Actually, I will mention, having been to Phillip Island a couple of times, there's a great restaurant in Cowes, and it's Pino's. I'm sure you've been to Pino's. It's an Italian restaurant, and the guy that runs it, whole room of MotoGP motorcycling memorabilia.
No.
It is so cool. It is always busy. It's one of those popular eat outs in Cowes, particularly when it's like there's MotoGP or supercars or even the World Superbikes. It's always busy, and because of the memorabilia and how popular it is, like food's fantastic. But just for the memorabilia alone, you can just go there and you go, oh my goodness, like there's a lot of Valentino Rossi stuff in there, and it is really cool. It is so cool. I highly recommend you go to it. It's such a cool place.
And a big thank you to our sponsor, Pino's,
yes.
for today's episode. No, I haven't been. I'm going to add it to my list. Combining my two great loves, motorsport, Italian food. I'll get that for sure. I wonder what pasta they use. Hopefully they're Barilla fans.
You'll be checking if it's Barilla pasta.
I hope.
Oh, that's so funny. You're milking it now for what it's worth. Yeah, Barilla pasta.
You got to hustle. You got to hustle in this day and age. Every podcast has got a sponsor these days. Not us.
This is the Motor Dream Podcast.
Okay, Luke, we know you're kind of into cars, and it's kind of grown on you over a period of time by virtue of your love of Formula One, and obviously taking the absolute the piss out of Formula One, which is a good thing. We got to have a lighthearted look at Formula One.
Healthy commentary, yes.
Yes, very healthy. But I want to know a little bit more about what makes you tick as a car enthusiast that's growing. So I want to ask you the first car that you drove. Do you remember how old you were when you first drove a car?
I do, yeah. 19, I got my license, so I was a bit late to the scene. In Melbourne, you had to do 120 hours of practice, of logging it in your book before you could do the test. Prior to that, I hadn't driven anything. Again, outside of the old Tonka toy car when I was like 3, hadn't gone wild. And so I practiced on a Toyota Camry, which, I mean, yes, are they the most boring car ever manufactured? Yes. But are they safe and reliable? Well, yes, because it may have had a bit of carnage as I was learning to drive it, but that's okay. And my first car was I still have it 12 years later, the Mitsubishi Lancer. A Mitsubishi Lancer 2010 SX.
That's very plain Jane, isn't it?
It really is. Hey, hang on. It is neon blue. Come on.
Okay. Okay. I was expecting like an Evo or something, but a plain Jane neon blue SX Lancer. Okay.
Come on. I think I've done a little bit better than like a Suzuki Swift or a Hyundai i30. Come on.
Hey, the i30Ns are actually nice. So actually the standard i30s go pretty hard too. So
right. Okay, again, thank you to our sponsor.
Yes.
Hyundai i30. I appreciate that. We're doing well here, Pinos and i30s.
Yeah. Yes. Well, we know the first car you drove and the first car you own, which you still own, so that's okay. Do you remember the first road trip that you remember?
The first road trip? Well, we were very lucky, yes. Our family had a little kind of Italian shack in the Mornington Peninsula, Rosebud.
Oh, yes.
A big kind of Italian kind of shack community there. And I was very lucky. My uncle, who was the car guy of the family, he got me out of school one day when I was 11 years old, so about year 5 or year 6. He got me a day off school, and we drove down in his his Mercedes-Benz SLK 55 AMG.
Oh, stop it.
I know. So again, now at the time, this was lost on me, I have to admit. in terms of it being this incredible car. But I just remember it was a convertible, so I just couldn't believe it. And that was, he got me out of school and we drove down. It was a beautiful day and we drove down to Rosebud from Melbourne, about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And for me, that was just, 2005 model. That blew my mind. Even though I didn't appreciate everything going on under the engine, under the hood, or what was happening with everything like that. Just to be in a cool car like that, really blew my mind.
I like that. That's a cool story. It's a really
cool
story.
Got the day off school. We went to the beach. I think we might have. I mean, the dichotomy of getting McDonald's takeaway Happy Meal, sitting in an AMG was a bit much. But you got to keep your roots.
You do. I'm sure that's a good memory to have. I like that. Do you remember the first time you changed a tyre, or are you too scared to do so?
No, I have changed a tyre. I'm not afraid to change a tyre. I'd like to think, being a Formula One fan, that you probably have to. Where was I? On the freeway, the Calder freeway, again on the outer, moving to the outer suburbs of Melbourne. And
is that near Keilor, maybe? Near Keilor?
Yeah, you know your Melbourne well. Probably en route to Keilor, actually.
Yeah.
Tyre popped, had to pull over, got the spare out, got the jack. And I would have to say, and I'm not one to blow my own trumpet here, but I would have to say I did a pretty good job. Now, did I have a few internal spirals? Was I dripping with sweat, abusing cars on the road as they came a bit too close to me? Yes. But, it doesn't matter how you get there as long as you get to the end of the rainbow, I reckon.
Yeah, I agree with that. As long as you survive to tell the tale, that's all that matters, particularly on the Calder freeway, which is scary enough at the best of times, particularly when you're near Calder Park, which is, that's like going back to Thunderdome, basically, from Mad Max. That's another story.
I tell you, though, just on changing tyres and stuff like that, one thing I'm trying to develop, and being on this podcast and listening to the episodes as well is great for me, because I'm upskilling myself with car terminology, car knowledge, because every time I go to the mechanics or every time I go to a tire joint, I get ripped off. I am a sucker. They see me coming and they're saying words that I swear don't exist. They are not part of cars. But yeah, your 84 to 80 inch, the Onslaught there has to be carbureted to the Fixie-Agent SLX engine thing. I'm like, oh, all right. Yeah, it'll be $3,000. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever you got. They see me coming.
They see you coming because they know, he's a sucker. We'll squeeze him for what it's worth. And probably because they know that you host a podcast, it's like, right, we've got him where it hurts most. His wallet. So,
I mean, it'd be pretty amazing if they knew that I hosted a podcast, because even I've got family members that wouldn't have a clue what I'm doing on a podcast. Yeah. So how's the little radio? Is it the radio thing? How's that going? No, it's a podcast. It's a podcast.
It's almost the same thing, but it's very different. Very different. What about eating in cars? Okay, you've already established that you had a Happy Meal and a Mercedes SLK. I mean, come on. That's pretty much a given that you like eating in cars. Is that right? I don't know.
Do I sound like a knob saying that? Because I don't know the gravitas of the SLK, but I want that to come across to the listeners. I don't know what I was doing in there.
Oh, you're only a kid then.
Exactly.
So that's a separate. But do you eat in cars or not? What's your stance?
100%, and I have mastered it.
Really?
I am a pro. I am driving responsibly, driving safely, of course. But you give me anything, I can eat it. I'll go souvlaki, Big Mac meal, ribs. You give me ribs, I can do ribs. I've got it. That Mitsubishi's seen some things. Let me tell you, Connor, my Mitsi. Whew. In fact, story about McDonald's and the Mitsubishi.
Please.
Went with dropping my friends off after they've had a big night, and we're driving home. McDonald's happy drive-through. I'm the designated driver. And then we drop them off at their house. They're all funny. Out they get to their house, and they thought, oh, wouldn't it be funny if we, give Luke some of the sweet and sour dipping sauce that we got from our McNugget meal. So from about 10 metres away, as they're just about to get in their front fence, I'm on the other side of the road. They're good at cricket, actually, my cricket mate. They piff in the barbecue sauce. It goes in my window, smashes the dashboard, and sweet and sour sauce all over the interior.
Oh, no.
And still to this day, I actually got it cleaned and got it steam cleaned and whatever. But still to this day, there's sweet and sour McNugget dipping sauce all in my Mitzi. So it has seen some things with food, yes.
Oh no, that
Crazy.
is just. I think that's the best one I've heard. That is. Actually, here's one more question. Given that you drive that Lancer, is it a manual or auto?
It's an auto. And again, I'm sorry, I just saw your face. You just slunk in your chair there. A complete face of disappointment. I'm sorry to everybody listening, but I do not drive manual.
Have you ever tried?
Yes. And would I, in a case of emergency, back myself to be able to do it? Yes. But legally, on my license, I cannot drive manual. Oh. I can look. You're so disappointed in me. Oh, I'll tell you what. It's not the first time I've seen a face of disappointment. It's someone wearing a Ferrari top, but that's okay. No, it is on my resolutions. I'm going to do it. Mark my words.
Come on. If you're going to be doing like track days eventually, if we're going to convince you to do track days and the like, we're going to get you to do manual driving.
Yes, mark my words. I will get it done. You have my word. You have my word.
All right, I'm holding you to it.
Okay.
Did you get your license first go?
Yes.
I hate you right now. I got mine second go. So there
Really?
You go. Yeah.
Are you willing to?
I've already told this story to someone. Yeah, and I've told it on the pod before, but I will remind anyone that's listening. So when I was just about to turn 18, probably about a month or two before, went to what we call the RTA in New South Wales back then, as it was, and ready to go to the driving test, put the key in the car, couldn't turn the ignition over it. And I was thinking, what's going on here? Why can't I turn it over? As it turns out, I put the wrong key in the ignition. How I did that, I have no idea. But I couldn't get the key out of the car, and we had to abort the test. So I was failed first go because I couldn't get the car started. I was so embarrassed by it.
I mean, it would have been worse if you were trying to swipe a card or something. So at least,
yes,
we'll let you off there.
Yeah, it's embarrassing. I still cringe when I think about it. But
I remember driving on my test, and I had, because if not sure if it was the same on your end, but you get through all the checkpoints, and then you just have to drive back to the center. But you know when you've passed because you're back and it's all good. So I was driving back, and my driving instructor was sitting next to me, and then the judge, or what do you call the person?
The assessor.
The assessor, that's the one, the judge. Too many legal battles. The assessor's sitting behind, and I look at the corner of my eye, look down, my instructor's just giving me a thumbs up to say all good. So I'm feeling great. I've passed it. I know I'm pretty good. Look at me. I'm driving. I'm cruising. Here we go. But I didn't realize he wasn't giving me the thumbs up. He was trying to move me over to merge because I was about to miss the exit and do a really dangerous merge. But luckily, I saw it in time and I made the safe merge and all was well. But there was a bit of a dicey moment.
I bet. Oh, wow. At least you got your license first go. I'll give you credit.
Okay.
Okay. What about things like stickers on cars, spoilers, fluffy dice? Do you do any of those things?
No. What's the whole adage? What is it? You're not going to put you don't put a sticker on a Ferrari or something like that. You're not gonna. No. No, I'm not for it. No.
Good.
There's the whole when there's a whole baby on board. I'm like, what do they expect people? Does that mean when I don't see a baby on board sticker, I'm going to just ram the car in front of me anyways? I do like a good novelty number plate though.
What's the best one you've seen?
What's the best one I've seen? Good question. I don't know, actually. I like a name. I like just like a name. I did see a Rocca one, which is my last name. Yeah. I don't own it, but that was pretty good. I don't know if I'm big on the whole numbers, as letters kind of thing. But I don't know. Yeah. No, I like. I'm not opposed to a personalized number plate.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, what about the best road trip you've been on? Has it been with Tim?
Definitely not. No, definitely not. Like I said, I don't think we could spend that long in a room together, or let alone in a passenger seats.
Well, I think if Mel Tresina can't go and be in the same room with Tim McDonald, it speaks volumes. So sorry, Tim. Sorry.
We might. Who knows, though? We might have a road trip. All jokes aside, we could have a road trip. That would be fun with old Timmy
I'd actually
boy.
like to see you try it. So
Maybe that's a bit. That's like an episode we could do. Just like a
Yeah,
road
do
trip.
it.
Well, to be fair, we have recorded some episodes in the car before. We were driving somewhere and we had to get an episode out. And Tim had the recorder. I was driving and he was holding the mic to my face. So again, driving safely, driving responsibly.
Yes.
But I can eat in the car and I can podcast in the car. So that's pretty good. I've driven up to Byron Bay before and I absolutely loved it. I love road tripping. I love spending time in the car. Sometimes I'm very lucky to live, just 20, 25 minutes away from Albert Park. Just late at night, I radio on, listen to a podcast, drive around there. I do have a social life and I do have people to see, but every now and then I do like to do that by myself. I love road tripping, yeah.
So you go to Albert Park and be like those guys that were sitting on the infield of Albert Park watching the Grand Prix the other day.
That was amazing, yeah. For people that missed that, there were, I think it was, two guys. He has a young child who needed to sleep and was watching the Miami Grand Prix, which in Melbourne was at 6 a.m.
Yes.
Couldn't find a pub, couldn't find a place, probably needed your underground black label pub at that time.
I don't know if it's still around or whatever, but I don't think they do that anymore because obviously Sky and KO and everything. So that's all.
Anyway,
it's all legal.
so he got his TV, went out with his mate, generator, and sat on the grass of Albert Park and watched the Miami GP. Go
And
figure.
I think, and I can't remember who it was, but she posted, she's from 3AW in Melbourne, and she posted it on her social medias, and it just absolutely blew up everywhere else.
Yeah,
So
amazing.
It's just so cool. The things you do to watch Formula One, particularly when you go to Albert Park.
Oh, boy, yeah. And you'd know, and any Australian listener would know, the things you need to do to follow Formula One in Australia. I mean, it's no easy task. It is no easy task. It is all hours.
It's and those that complain, I've got to get up because it's, particularly in Europe, get up because it's so early in the morning. We've been doing it for a long time. Get used to it. The amount of late nights and early mornings I've had to do watching Formula One for years.
Oh, yeah.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
It is a very brutal sport. Who taught you how to drive?
Who taught me how to drive? It was my mum and a driving instructor. Yeah, I got I got the driving instructor in, get some professional advice.
Yep.
And so I think it was just my mum and the driving instructor. What I will say is I loved it straight away. I didn't have that apprehension, or I wasn't scared. Look at me. So I wasn't scared. I swear. I promise. Oh no, I wasn't scared. But no, I just I loved it from the get go.
Cool. And what about naming cars? Do you name your cars, or you haven't thought about that as yet?
I mean, I've only owned the one.
Yes.
I have named it. My car is called Betty, and after Betty Davis, because it's strikingly blue.
Yes.
And that she's got Betty Davis eyes, which I don't actually know if they are blue, but for some reason the song She's Got Betty Davis, I just kind of I've named it that. But I suspect eventually this Mitzi's not going to be able to handle more barbecue sauce, so it will it will break down on me. But yeah, I'm not opposed to naming. I know Sebastian Vettel was a big namer of his cars. He named each car that he drove.
That's right, he did too.
Yeah.
I forgot about that actually. So
Yeah.
I know Paul Morris Supercars drive, or former Supercars drive. He's named his race cars in the past. So I'm sure you're on a good thing. So
See, I understand why the race car drivers do, because if they are in a car that wins them a ton of money, I would go as far to name it too. At the moment, my Mitzi probably doesn't bring me that much, but that's okay.
Nice. And lastly, what about, other than podcasts, what music do you listen to?
Ooh, I'm a big music fan. I love a bit of everything. My main man is Elton John. I'm a big Elton John fan. Huge Elton John fan. Elton John, Queen, David Bowie.
I'm a Queen fan here, big Queen fan. Actually, Elton's drummer, he's in his touring band, he's a semi-professional racing driver. So when he came out to Australia, when Elton did his last ever tour here in Australia, he actually drove one of Brad Jones' supercars. So
cool. Nigel
a couple
Olsen.
of years
That's
ago.
awesome.
Yeah, so really, really cool to...
There is a bit of a link with Formula One and music. There always is. There's George Harrison was a massive Formula One fan.
Yeah.
There's a lot of acts now with with Formula One going crazy on the weekend. There's all these big names, and in the pits and stuff like that. But yeah, I would have to say Elton John's my favorite.
I know Rowan Atkinson's a big Formula One fan.
You've
Brian
seen that,
Johnson.
that video when he's in the Mercedes
Yes.
garage and he's riding the race and he's demonstrating his range of facial expressions.
Oh, love it. Now, I remember I think it was last year or the year before, he was on the grid and Martin Brundle approaches Rowan for a chat and Rowan goes into his best Martin Brundle impersonation. So I love that. I think it's really cool because he's just so enthusiastic about the sport. And I know Brian Johnson from AC/DC, he's a big Formula One fan, big motorsport fan as well. So Jamiroquai's JK, I mean, I know he loves it. Yeah, JK's a big F1 motoring
That's
nut.
crazy.
Yeah. I think he had at one point a Mercedes Grosser, which is like one of the most expensive cars that Mercedes ever built at the time. And I think the one that he owned was owned by Coco Chanel. So,
I mean, that is the beauty of Formula One right there. You've got Jamiroquai, Mercedes, Coco Chanel. Three just brands that, what are they doing together? It's amazing.
Yeah, it's so cool. I just love the... I guess it's just the crazy nature. Like, it just brings out the best of everyone, but it also brings out the craziness of everyone at the same time.
Yeah.
So
Anytime you have that much money and, that much notoriety, it's on for young and old.
Actually, I've got to ask, before we move on to the Dream Garage, I love Martin Brundle's grid chats. Remember when he tried to interview Megan Thee Stallion and he said, "You can't talk to her." I said, "I just did." Would you like to do that? Would you like to?
I couldn't do what Martin Brundle did. He's amazing. I mean, those grids are absolute chaos. And the way, it's gnarly what he has to do. He's got security people. He's got celebrities. Most of the celebrities love him, are nice to him, know what's up. There are other celebrities that, give him nothing and think he's just like a fan. And that always is awkward. But, I couldn't do that. That's amazing.
What if Tim tried to do that? I think he might handle it okay. Or they would try and ignore him. I'd like to see Tim try and do a grid
There might be a few accidental knocks and shoves and bumps and pushes from some team bosses, maybe. But no, the Brundle, the whole Sky team, all the F1 broadcasters, they really do incredible because it's like firstly they cover a lot with all the practice sessions and the qualifying, and then it's always moving, it's always changing. So they do great.
All right, Luke Rocca, this is the reason why we got you on the podcast. You wake up one morning and you get a text. Before you start recording an episode of the Reserve Drivers, you get a text and it says, "Check your bank balance." And you think, "Oh, come on, this is just a scam. This is something that Clive Palmer would do somewhere along the line." No apologies to Clive.
Again, thank you to another sponsor, the Trumpets.
Yes,
thank you very much.
Thanks, Trumpets. Yep, Crumpets are Trumpets. And then you think, okay, well, might as well go and check the bank balance, see if it's this crap or not. You check it and you become an instant billionaire. You suddenly discover your bank balance has gone to infinity levels and you just think, holy hell, what has happened here? Anyway, you get an email from this mystery benefactor and it tells you that you can buy any car, bike, or machine that you want. Be only allowed 3 in your dream garage. So with that in mind, what is the first car, bike, or machine that you would like to have in your dream garage, Luke Rocca?
Well, firstly, waking up and just being told you've got $1 billion at your disposal, I mean, that's just a Tuesday for Lance Stroll. So,
yes, it is actually, yes.
So I'm in good company there. But, I did think long and hard about this. And I have worked out that whilst I might not be the ultimate, I don't know my specs and all that kind of stuff with cars, and I can't say I'm an absolute petrol head.
That's all right.
From deep down. What I've worked out is that I'm quite fascinated with cars that have a story, particularly linked to racing. And I remember I was doing some work for the Reserve Drivers and I was deep diving Niki Lauda, of course, a Ferrari world champ, Mercedes.
McLaren world champion.
World champion, yep. Helped build Mercedes into the mega team that it is now. Formula One fans don't need me to describe who Niki Lauda is, but if you're unfamiliar, you might have seen the movie Rush. Anyways. So, he wins 2 world championships at Ferrari, and then in 78, he joins Brabham, which is the Formula One team that was owned by Jack Brabham, who was the Formula One world champ, Aussie world champ, won it when he was 40, I believe. And but he doesn't own it at the time. It's owned by Bernie Ecclestone, the walking skeleton himself. Bernie Ecclestone, who, talk about billionaires. So he owns the team, and it has an Alfa Romeo engine. Okay,
I do remember that. Yes.
And I'll disclose here that I love Alfa Romeo cars. That's one that I've just always been fascinated in. I just had a friend at school whose mum drove an Alfa Romeo, and I just loved the look of it. Anyways, so it's Team Brabham, owned by Bernie Ecclestone. It's got an Alfa Romeo engine, and it's got Niki Lauda as a driver. 1978, they don't do much. It gets to the Swedish Grand Prix, and all of a sudden, they are flying. Okay, Team Brabham.
I think I know where this is going.
You know where this is going.
I know where it's going.
Yeah, where they are absolutely flying. Lauda, after not really being anywhere, wins by like over 35 seconds, absolutely ahead of the pack, out of nowhere. Anyways, it comes to pass that there was the car, which now in Formula One folklore is called the fan car. It was a Brabham BT 46B.
Yes.
And it famously had fans installed that were meant to cool the engine, cool the brakes, cool the car down. Well, what ended up happening was these fans gave the car an extraordinary amount of downforce.
Yes.
They were hiding the fans. They absolutely dominated the competition. It looked incredible, was so fast, but it was the first, and Lauda wins the race. It was the first and only time that car was run. Mysteriously. Now, no, I'm not saying there was foul play. The car was ticked off as legal.
It was.
But we never saw the car again. Until, though, it was paid tribute with, it was homaged in the Alfa Romeo 1978 Spider Niki Lauda edition. And this is my first car that I would like in my dream garage.
Oh, okay. Hello, here we go. The Alfa Romeo Spider Niki Lauda. Okay, now we're talking.
Look, was that a bit of a long run-up? Yes.
It was a long run-up, but it's worth it for that reason alone. I get it. It's so cool.
This is a car that was inspired by that Brabham, the fan car that had the fans for cooling purposes, but not really. That just gave the car an incredible amount of downforce and really kind of actually put downforce on the agenda in Formula One. So it was a big deal car. But this Lauda 1978 Alfa Romeo Spider Edition, it pays homage to that. You'll see, you can look. I don't know if I could share or.
I'm having a look now. I'm looking it up online.
So the actual Grand Prix car, the actual F1 car, has like a streak of kind of black through it, and they've paid homage to that on the Alfa Romeo.
And I'm seeing it now. And it's absolutely beautiful, utterly beautiful, and I love like the wedge tail wing on the back. That is just, obviously there's no fan on it. It will look absolutely weird.
I love a wooden steering wheel, the tan leather seats. I'll have to learn how to drive manual. That's for sure.
Yes.
It's Carmen red, so it's a really striking red. It's a 2-litre engine, I discovered, if that means something to people.
Yeah, 2-litre twin-cam 4-cylinder motor.
There we go.
Specialty, yes, here we go. So, yeah.
You're starting to sound like my mechanic.
I know. 78, so that was released. The 2-litre 4-cylinder twin-cam with a 5-speed manual, and it was it was actually released. There was 350 examples of the Lauda edition made. So it's a very, very rare car, and it just looks absolutely beautiful. I see why you like it. It is okay. It makes a lot of sense now why you had that long lead up, because
you're probably going, what on earth?
No. Because there's actually, would you believe this? There's actually many years later, because the car was designed by Gordon Murray, the South African designer who went on to design Brabham's winning World Championship cars in 81 and 83, and then I think went on to design the McLaren F1. From 1993. So he designed that car that McLaren, it was the first McLaren road car built. But some years ago, Gordon Murray decided to form his own automotive company, and it's called Gordon Murray Automotive. And it's a homage to the McLaren F1, but it also includes the fan on the back of the actual car itself, the Gordon Murray Automotive Type 50. And a previous guest on my podcast mentioned this car as part of her dream garage. So there's a lot of similarities between the Brabham fan car, which actually does generate the downforce required, and also pays homage to the McLaren F1. It is such a cool car, but the GMA T50. It is so unique in its design and its construction. I like it. But I think personally, the Alpha Spider, the louder edition, my goodness, that is so cool. I can see why you've chosen that. Yeah, and I can see why you're an Alfa Romeo fan as well. It's really cool.
Yeah. I mean, what I will say, of course, is this is like if you drink Ferrari is just like my given. Okay, like I said,
of course,
the Italian blade, it's a given. But that's just we park that one. But yeah, there's something special about the Alfa Romeo, of course, with actually Enzo Ferrari being the first a driver of the Alfa Romeo car that wins in 1925, I think, or at least in the early days.
Yep.
So yeah, it's just steeped with history. It's a beautiful looking car, and I love the link with F1. And of course, F1 being the pinnacle of car like tech, I guess, it's nice when there's actual more tangible links to F1 cars and road cars.
Yes.
I love that. So that's my first car.
Okay, I like that. Alfa Romeo Spider, Niki Lauda edition from 1978. I like that. What's your second car?
Okay, now this one's a bit more of it won't be such a big build-up. But
that's all right.
This is more of, I want to discover more about this car. So I'm going to get this car in my dream garage to be able to discover more. And you might be able to help me, okay?
Sure. I
have recently discovered, and I'm a big fan, of the 1972 Chrysler, the Chargers, the RT E49s, and the kind of OG muscle car in Australia.
Oh, yes, okay.
Now, particularly, it's kind of like a papaya orange.
Yes.
Is what I'm big on. And again, I found this car when I was doing stuff with reserve drivers. We do a lot of like historical archive, like see what was happening in the past. And I came across the Hey Charger ads. I don't know if you've ever seen those.
I've seen them.
Yeah.
I've
Hey
seen
Charger.
them. Hey Charger.
Hey
yeah.
Charger. Yeah.
I love them.
And I became fascinated with this car again with race links. So I found out that this car, so manufactured by Chrysler Australia. So I guess we call it an Australian car.
Yes, it is.
Is that how it works? Good.
Yep.
Good at exposing myself.
It is an Australia. It was built in South Australia actually. Built
cool.
Out where the Ben Motorsport Park is now, because that's where. Yeah. So I think it's in Lonsdale. Or it was near. Their test track used to be in Tailem Ben, which is now where the Ben Motorsport Park is. But their manufacturing facilities were on the outskirts of Adelaide in Lonsdale. So that's
right.
And that's when Chrysler became Mitsubishi back in the early 80s. So,
okay. So you got a little. You've picked up on my Mitsubishi link there.
I did. Yes, I have.
But I'm fascinated by this car because it comes out with huge kind of critical success. It was called one of the fastest, Aussie muscle cars. It was poised to do really well in races, and then it actually enters, I think it was like the 72 or 73 Bathurst, and this is where I kind of found it. It does really well. Third and fourth, the two Chrysler Chargers, never see it again, or it goes away.
It's sad, isn't it? Like it was killed off by the supercar scare. So a bit of background history for those that don't know. So
myself included.
Yes, including. So basically the E49 Charger, the RT model, was built specifically for Bathurst. That's what it was at the time. And at that same time, it was in a 3-horse race against Ford with its GTHO Falcon Phase 3. They were building their Phase 4 XA model Falcon at the time. Holden were looking to do a V8 version of their Tirana XU1, and then it got broken in the news by the late Evan Green, who was a well-respected motoring journalist and motorsport commentator at the time for Channel 7, breaking the news in the Sun Herald saying these Bathurst specials, will be released on the roads, and it caused an absolute furor at the time. The government basically blackmailed all the manufacturers and said, cancel these cars or we'll never get you to supply government vehicles ever again. They basically got blackmailed into saying, it caused huge outrage saying, it's going to be dangerous for our young kids. What if these young kids get, and basically...
Because it was a race car, there was the association of being dangerous.
Correct.
Right.
Although they were going to be released as road specials, but it obviously because of that connection to Bathurst, it caused an absolute stink, and it basically forced the rule makers at the time to change the regulations and outlaw these cars to make them I guess, to try and avoid, like something catastrophic happening if a young kid at the time, like a young driver, got a hand of this car and didn't know what he was doing. So, as I said, it caused an absolute stink. But that car, the E49 Charger, there were plans to release a V8 version of it, but they stuck with the hemispherical 6, the Hemi 6 motor, and it actually was very, very quick. It actually was quicker than the V8 version, but it was also much lighter than the V8 version, and it could have won Bathurst. It almost did in 1972.
Yeah.
So it was a privateer Charger that won ahead of the factory entry. So it's...
Because, I found out, and it's, by the way, it's incredible how much you know and, like, your... history. It's awesome. I'm like,
thank you.
Kid in a candy shop here. Incredible.
Yeah.
But what I worked out was, so it became third and fourth in that 72 race, I guess, but without no backing, right?
Well, the car that finished in third place was a privateer entry. There was a factory entry that finished in fourth position, and the guy that drove it was a legend in his lifetime, a guy by the name of Leo Gagan. He sadly passed away 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But Leo he actually helped develop that Chrysler Charger. So Chrysler really got into motorsport in a big way in the early 1970s. They released a Valiant Pacer, which was like a 4-door, 4-barrel, carbureted slant 6 motor, which did very, very well. And then they developed the 2-door coupe Charger off the back of that. And it took a while for them to get the car really competitive, but by 1972, it started off in wet conditions and then got to dry conditions. The car actually came into its own in the 72 race, and it could have won it. It really could have won it, but unfortunately, the guys that finished third, Doug Chivvis and Damon Beck, they were in a privateer entry, a dealer entry Charger. They actually were banking to do the whole race on one stop. And with consistently fast driving, they did so well. But the thing that really killed them was they had a very long pit stop because they couldn't get the wheel nuts off the car. So they had to do the entire race on one set of tyres. So had they been able to change the tyres and get the car going, they could have won the race.
It sounds like me on the Calder freeway trying to get my tyres off as well.
Yes.
But I guess why I am so fascinated I love the look of it. It's just...
it's so good.
And of course, but kind of more of like a what could have been. You know, we have the Holden, we have Ford as these big racing names in Australian racing, and could have we had the third big competitor? Yeah,
and it almost did. It was like the big three for a good period of time. So just a quick summary. It basically had a 4.3 litre Hemi 6 motor producing 302 horsepower, which was big numbers for its time.
Right.
And it had a 4-speed gearbox as well. When the previous model had a 3-speed gearbox, which kind of slowed it down a bit, but the 4-speed really helped it a lot. And the aerodynamic styling on the car is just like, so good. It's such a nice car. And I must admit, I am a bit of a fan of the Charger. So it's such a nice car.
You have not let me down in terms of leveling me up and upskilling. I'm going to regurgitate everything you just said. I'm going to regurgitate to all my car fan friends.
If they're wanting to listen to you. If they're wanting to listen to you. So,
True, yeah.
Actually, for those interested to know, there was a track pack option that you could get. It was a dealer option, but you could get it. And it allowed you to, install a bigger fuel tank, a 160-litre fuel tank, plus additional enhancements. So you could actually have, if you wanted to take it on the track, or particularly go production car racing as it was back then under the rules, if you took the 160-litre tank, you could basically try and do one stop, do like the entire 500-mile distance or 800 kilometres, go for one stop, and then keep going, which means you wouldn't spend that much time in the pit. So that's what they were trying to do, but unfortunately it didn't quite work out. But it's just one of those cult cars that still has a very, very big following all these years on.
There you go. Yeah, well, like I said, it would be, it's a fascinating car with its history.
Yes.
And it looks, easy on the eye too.
Oh, still looks great after all these years. What about your third car? What would
my third car is not so much a car as it is a machine, and it is a bit more of a project of mine. Okay, so this one
I'm listening.
A little bit different, perhaps, but I've had it in my mind for a long time. A bit of a dream of mine to. I've always wanted to refurbish a boat. Now
we've had a few boats on the pod.
Have we? Okay.
Yes, we've had a few.
Luckily enough, growing up, my family been into fishing and just on the Port Phillip Bay in Victoria here, and so I've always been interested in boats, and I have a particular interest to upscale, upmodel, refurbish a Caribbean ski boat. So I don't have a particular model. There is a couple that I like from like the kind of 80s and the 70s and 80s, a bit older.
Yeah.
So yeah, have a look at those and you'll see it has a distinct kind of, it's got the V-shaped hull and it's low to the level.
Yes. I'm seeing one right now. I see what you mean. They actually look nice. They kind of remind me of those jet ski boats, because they're very low, they're very stumpy. Like I've got that V shape in the hull, and then it's like very stumpy at the back.
And in particular the Jaguar models. So the Jaguar models are the one that my family and I have kind of always. I've got a few cousins and stuff who always talk about buying an old boat, looking to try to can we is there one on boat sales for $200 that we can? Now I should preface with the fact that I barely even know how to hold a hammer, so I have zero experience in refurbishment. I tried to make a lawnmower go-kart once during the whole COVID time. We were doing all sorts of things during the lockdowns. I thought I'm going to make a lawnmower go-kart, so I'm going to get the lawnmower engine, make the go-kart.
Yeah.
The furthest I got was just picking up a lawnmower off Hard Rubbish Collection off the street one day, and the lawnmower is still in the garage. I haven't touched it. So when it comes to refurbishment, when it comes to DIY, when it comes to building, I can't say that's my strong point, but it is definitely a dream of mine. And those Caribbean Jaguars, I really would love to get my hands on that.
I actually like them. There's something very simple yet very cool about them.
Yeah, if you look up I think it's like a 19, you go like 85 or like I think something around that, or like a late 70s, 78, 79.
Yeah.
They look they look beautiful, I think.
Yeah, like a speedboat. Yeah, I like it. I actually do like it. They're just something. Yeah, just like a little runabout everyday boat that you can just take a couple of mates on, go fishing if you wanted to, and I like it. Actually, that's just something I was expecting, like a luxurious yacht or anything like that. And it's just like, it's just a little dinghy, like a little runabout. I like it.
You'll see with all my three selections, I enjoy, in terms of cars, I like that compact, small kind of, almost like it's bursting out of itself.
Yeah.
I do love that. And same with the boat, for sure, yeah.
That's really cool. I absolutely love the dream garage that you've got. Alfa Romeo Spider Niki Lauda edition, the E49 1972 RT Chrysler Charger. Love that. And then a Caribbean Jaguar ski boat. That's just, wow. That's just so different to anything that I was expecting. Because I've had guests that have given me like luxurious cars or Porsche GT3 RSs or just Commodores or whatever, but this is so different. And I must admit, Alfa Romeo, I think you're the first person that's actually mentioned an Alfa Romeo in this podcast, so I'm really happy about that.
Well, like I said, Connor, this was all about, I'm trying to level up. I'm trying to, immerse myself more in the world of these beautiful cars out, dream bigger than my Mitsubishi is what I'm trying to do.
Yes, and you've immersed yourself very well. I'm very impressed at how well you've done your research. So I'll give you credit for that.
Oh, thank you.
Mate, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the podcast. Thank you so much for coming on. And congratulations again for the reserve drivers. I mean, I've been a fan for a long time, listening to the pod, and I do get a laugh out of it. And I know we'll try and get Tim on the podcast at some point, providing that the lawyers allow me. But I'll let you do your magic to do that. But it's been great fun, and keep going with what you're doing. We really enjoy it, and all the best for the future.
Connor, thanks so much. This has been a thrill. Your knowledge is just absolutely incredible.
Thank you.
I absolutely love it. I could listen to it all day. And the beautiful world of motors and motorsport. Hey?
Yeah, we love it. It's what brings people together, I think. Thank you, mate. Thanks for coming on. I told you Luke's Dream Garage would surprise you, especially when he mentioned the Niki Lauda edition of the iconic Alfa Romeo Spider. It was a car that until he told me, I never knew existed. But when you combine the two iconic names such as Lauda and Alfa Romeo, you have something that deserves to be in anyone's car collection. And the Valiant E49 Charger. That deserves to join the Valiant Pacer that already sits in the Motor Dream podcast Dream Garage as chosen by my episode 3 guest, Luke West. Actually, I'm quite surprised up until now why the Charger wasn't on anyone's list. It's an Australian classic that still turns heads more than half a century on. Now, since this interview was recorded, there has been a lot that has happened in the world of Formula One, most notably the dismissal of Christian Horner as the CEO of Red Bull Racing. As always, Luke and Tim have already put their unique comedic spin on the chaos that is Red Bull right now, and you can hear that episode, plus many more, by subscribing to the Reserve Drivers podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts. My profound thanks to Luke for being such a great guest. And Tim, you know where to find me if you want to come on. I'll even have a fresh bowl of Barilla pasta waiting for you. I'm not paid by Barilla, by the way. Just saying. You can follow Luke on Instagram as well as the Reserve Drivers podcast on Facebook, Instagram and YouTube. You can also catch Luke from time to time appearing on the cheap seats on Network 10. As always, we'll put links up in the show notes as well as the Motor Dream podcast website, which is at themotordream.com.au. That is where you can listen to past episodes, find more information on each of our guests, and also on the show itself. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram with the handle The Motor Dream, and you can start a conversation about your dream garage by using the hashtag The Motor Dream. Or better still, drop us a line on what your dream garage would be at themotordream@beastproductions.com.au. Lastly, make sure you like and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts, be it Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, or YouTube Music. Thanks for listening to the Motor Dream podcast, and remember to drive or ride safely out on the roads wherever you go. We'll be back for another episode in a couple of weeks' time, where we'll feature American off-road racing's power couple, a couple that have tasted Baja and Dakar success. They are Ricky Brabeck and Sarah Price, and I can't wait to bring that to you next time you join me on the Motor Dream podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Thanks for listening to the Motor Dream podcast. This series is proudly produced by Beast Productions.